Severe weather coverage from the Weather Channel.
Over 10,000 people are refugees in their own country tonight. Good evening, I'm Dave Schwartz with a Hurricane Hortense update along with hurricane specialist John Hope. John, let's get right to the hurricane warnings as they exist right now. In the Bahamas, southeastern Bahamas. Why is that, John?
Well, that's because that's not very far ahead of where the storm is right now. It's headed in that direction, and that is the one area that we're quite concerned about. We do expect the hurricane to turn more towards the north, but it may be very close to the southeastern Bahamas before it's able to do that.
And we've got tropical storm warnings that are in effect for the northern border of Haiti at the present time.
As it moves on to the west, they are likely. That will be the weekend, but it could be Saturday. Could be as early as Saturday. That very fast movement, we have to remember that it's really going to scoot up there in a hurry.
So interestingly, the southeast part of the United States may be less impacted by this hurricane than further north.
We think so, but of course we always like to see it get north of a certain point before we say, okay, you're out of danger. But we think it is going to turn toward the north off the southeast coast.
Gotcha. John Hope, thank you so much, hurricane specialist here at the Weather Channel. The trough of low pressure John was just alluding to in the upper Midwest is causing problems for us here in the United States tonight. Jeanetta Jones has that and your forecast right here.
All right, we check out what's happening across the rest of the country, and we've got a lot happening. A lot of showers and thunder showers across the southwest. Intense thunderstorms here in the midsection of the country, and flooding rain still occurring across the southeast. Not exactly what you want to hear in North Carolina after what you had to deal with Fran, but indeed we are seeing some really heavy downpours, and some flash flood warnings and watches are in effect. But first of all, I want to show you that we do have severe tornado warning in effect there. So please batten down the hatches and be prepared to seek shelter immediately in Eau Claire and surrounding areas there. We take you on into North Carolina, South Carolina, and I'm afraid I have bad news for you. Lots of heavy downpours near Raleigh, lots of reports of streets flooded out and the like, and unfortunately the rain's still coming down all the way south towards Columbia and south of Macon. You can see some heavier downpours there as well. Big-time thunderstorms in Florida tonight, intense lightning and some windy conditions along I-10 from Tallahassee to Jacksonville. Heavy thunder shower being reported in Orlando, the Beeline Expressway. Just a mess this evening, so if you don't have to venture out, it's probably a good idea not to. Well, we head back to the maps and check out your forecast for tomorrow. And this is what we're thinking. That area of low pressure will continue to plague parts of the southeast as the next front is getting better organized and starts to make its push through the upper Midwest into the Ohio Valley. What we're thinking is that you're going to see some much cooler air, and this is going to be the big push of autumnal air that we are expecting, and this will also be the big push that creates that massive trough here in the east that is actually going to play a key role in what we think will happen with Hurricane Hortense. So you'll need to check back with us periodically throughout the week to see how things pan out, and if indeed they do pan out the way we're thinking right now. All right, Wednesday afternoon you see the showers and thunder showers once again upon you in the southeast, and obviously we do have the potential for showers, maybe even severe weather in association with the next front that will be the more rather unsettled here as well. Saturday is going to be very pleasant across the southeast comparatively speaking. You know how hot it can be this time of year. And then Sunday, would you look at the high temperatures we're expecting for the northeast. What a fall-like weekend, right? Thursday, chance for showers and thunder showers along the eastern seaboard. This is going to be a very wet pattern for New England, whether or not we see the effects of the hurricane. We indeed expect that low to form right off of the coast. It's going to be sort of like a coastal low. And then, if indeed we do find that Hurricane Hortense backs up into the New England coastline, well, we may have some serious trouble with flooding once again. A little too soon to tell at this point. We'll keep you posted. Stay tuned. We'll go traveling coming up next.
Weather coverage from the Weather Channel.
Hurricane Hortense deals a heavy blow to our friends in Puerto Rico. Good evening, I'm Dave Schwartz. It is half past the hour, and Puerto Rico is still getting hit by rains, even though the eye of the hurricane is far away. It's over the northeast coast of the Dominican Republic right now. Let's have a look at the radar image. You can see here's Puerto Rico right here. That is the island of Puerto Rico. San Juan would be here. Ponce would be right there. Now, last night at this time, the eye was moving just to the south of Ponce, clipped Puerto Rico, and the eye is now just to the northeast of the Dominican Republic right now. But oh, the rain that was put down. Video from Puerto Rico pretty much says it all. There's no need to say anything. Just listen to the wind. 80-mile-per-hour winds and torrential rains. There's damage all across the island tonight. Heavy flooding, the main problem. Roofs were ripped from homes and businesses. Trees and power lines blown down. And much of Puerto Rico's 3.6 million people are without water and or electricity tonight. It's believed that at least 9 people were killed, but many others still are missing. And the rainfall total is very impressive. At Naguabo, Puerto Rico, 17.9 inches of rain and more has fallen since then. In Villalba, 17.5. And the U.S. Virgin Islands got hit too. St. Croix with 15.5 inches of rain. In Phoenix, Arizona, that is 2 years' worth. And in Ponce, Puerto Rico, 11.2 inches. Now the rain has let up, at least in intensity, but the rain continues tonight. The flooding continues to ravage areas, especially around 7 different rivers in Puerto Rico. It was a rough night last night. Now we're looking toward the northeast. Let's have a look at this satellite picture. Where you see red, that's where the heaviest precipitation is most likely now. Now here's Puerto Rico right there. That is Puerto Rico. This is the Dominican Republic. And here is the eye centered right in there. The eye of Hurricane Hortense. Even though the eye is hundreds of miles away, there's still plenty of rain back in here. Plenty of rain that is yet to fall in Puerto Rico here tonight. The hurricane continues to move away, so the winds in San Juan are only from the northeast at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, so that is no longer a problem. But the rain and the flooding will linger yet for another day or two. No hurricane warnings are in effect for Puerto Rico or the Virgin Islands. Since the eye of the hurricane has moved off to the west-northwest, this area right here, the Dominican coast, is under a hurricane warning. And with the anticipated track to the west-northwest, that also puts the Turks and Caicos in peril, and the central Bahamas as well, where a hurricane watch is in effect tonight, and that tropical storm warning for the northern border of Haiti. Now the big question is, where does it head? Does it make the United States? Well, that's the big question. Here's the latest as of 5. Etta Jones with the latest on stormy weather here in the U.S.
Thanks a lot, Dave. We do have some stormy weather to talk about right about here from Minnesota into Wisconsin, now entering the picture for the UP of Michigan. We have some flooding rains across the southeast and some showers and thunder showers across the southwest. So let's get started by showing you what's happening in the upper Midwest. We have a strong cold front that is going to be bearing down on the upper Midwest tonight, and with that cooler, drier air clashing with the warm, moist air out of the Gulf of Mexico, we get the potential for severe thunderstorms. Severe thunderstorm watch in effect through the late evening hours. Everywhere we have the yellow shading here, and that's a lot of locations. I want to show you a radar because this is pretty intense. We have seen the possibility of not only large hail, but also
as well as the southeastern Bahamas. Hurricane watch is in effect for the northern coast of Haiti here from the Dominican Republic border westward to St. Nicholas, and we also have hurricane watches in effect for the central Bahamas. Tropical storm information, tropical storm warnings in effect as well here for the northern Haitian coast from the Dominican Republic border over towards St. Nicholas. So the same area that's under the watch, hurricane watch, is also under the tropical storm warning. This is what our satellite picture shows. Again, the center, we think somewhere in this general vicinity here. Get about 20 miles off the coast, we think, and it continues to rake the northern coast of the Dominican Republic and is expected to continue to do that tonight as it moves on off to the northwest. So windy conditions as well as a great deal of rain falling here. Not only the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico continues to get pounded with rain. Terrible, devastating flash flooding has been occurring. The rivers and streams rising and mudslides a problem. So again, torrential amounts of rain here. Some reports of 18 inches of rain already, and more rain continues to fall. Where you see the darker reds and oranges, beneath these clouds, still getting a good bit of rain, and even more is expected, not only Puerto Rico, but also into the Virgin Islands, getting the wet weather too, and there's been a great deal of rain there as well. So this is certainly not over yet for Puerto Rico, unfortunately. Of course, the winds not as big a factor as they were earlier last night and into the morning hours, but that's not the case for the Dominican Republic. Still getting the windy conditions as well as the heavy amounts of rain here. As you see, again, the rain continues to fall. Where you see the green, that's where the heavier amounts of rain are falling. Don't let this mislead you. This Dominican Republic out of radar range, no doubt some very heavy amounts of rain falling here too. As we can see with our wider perspective, the eventual track of Hurricane Hortense, what we think is going to happen, headed in the northwest right now, we think eventually it is going to head in a more northerly direction in response to a deep trough that's supposed to dig here across the eastern U.S. We think that's going to happen east of Florida. That's the way it looks right now. Still a question mark, though, as far as what effect it might have from the mid-Atlantic states northward to New England. Still uncertain as to the exact track. So folks in the east want to keep tuned to the Weather Channel and keep up to date as far as the forecast and what the eventual track of Hortense may be, and we will keep you updated here at the Weather Channel. That's how it stands in the tropics. Stay tuned. We'll update your travel conditions coming up next.
Stay with the Weather Channel for up-to-the-minute information on Hurricane Hortense. The Weather Channel. Depend on us to keep you ahead of the storm.
And now it's time for the Michelin Driver.
And look out for fog, which could reduce your visibility in parts of the southeast. Stay tuned. We'll have more on Hurricane Hortense.
Weather coverage from the Weather Channel.
Well, Hurricane Hortense leaves over 10,000 refugees in Puerto Rico, and the worst is not yet over, at least in terms of flooding. Good evening, I'm Dave Schwartz. Let's have a look at this hurricane on our satellite view, and I'll tell you, from this vantage point, it's hard to imagine that the area just inside that circle did this last night. Video from Puerto Rico is pretty graphic, gives you an idea of the flooding that took place earlier today. Rivers way out of their banks, backing up, closing roads. There are reports of at least 8 dead, but many continue missing tonight. Many roads are out, and access to small remote areas is very limited. Now, last night at this time, we were talking live with the rescue people in Puerto Rico, and at that point there were search and rescues going on rivers and out over the open water because there were folks stranded in ships and boats. Well, we are going live to Puerto Rico tonight, speaking with Petty Officer Brandon Brewer, who's had a very active last 24 hours. To our friends in Puerto Rico. Let's have a look at the satellite imagery. This is color enhanced to show you that Puerto Rico is now far away from the hurricane, but the rains still continue. Here's Puerto Rico right here, right in the middle of the circle. San Juan would be on the northeast coast. There's still some very heavy rains out here. Very heavy rain feeding across the island. Right now in Puerto Rico itself we have some light rain, but still heavy showers are possible. Now the hurricane is centered right in there off the northeast coast of the Dominican Republic, and that's why a hurricane warning is in effect for that area. And to the northwest, our hurricane is moving toward the northwest at the present time, so the Turks and Caicos in the southeast Bahama Islands are imperiled by the onslaught of our hurricane. Also a tropical storm warning in effect for the northern coast of the Dominican Republic. Make that Haiti. Hortense is moving toward the northwest at 12 miles per hour. It's a minimal hurricane, but as it reemerges out over the warm waters of the Atlantic Ocean, strengthening is likely over the next day or two, and that bodes poorly for our friends in the southeast Bahamas. Pressure now 983 millibars, and the center 20 miles northeast of Cabo Samaná, Dominican Republic. How close does it get to the United States? Well, over the next 36 to 48 hours, we're okay. Stormy weather of the southeast should keep our hurricane away. It's actually forecast to take this a little further off.
Vendors loads critical information while tracking what could become one of nature's most powerful forces. The storm is on the move. The Weather Channel tropical team stays ahead of it, using the latest in forecast technology. And if it threatens the coast, our experts will report live from the scene so you'll know what's happening. Comprehensive, up-to-the-minute tropical updates, 50 minutes past every hour on the Weather Channel. Brought to you by the Severe Weather Coverage.